The board would like to thank you for coming in, Mr. Nimmo. Everyone here is aware of the reasoning for us being here today. So I'd like to just jump straight into it, okay?
All right.
Now, to ensure a fair hearing, this board was comprised of 3 members. Myself, as the Commissioner of Major League Baseball, will represent the baseball side. Tony Clark, as the Executive Director of the Major League Baseball Players Association, will represent the players' side. And Theo Epstein, as a former member of the Commissioner's Office and former executive of various ball clubs, as well as part owner of the Boston Red Sox. He'll represent the best of both worlds in this unique scenario.
So this is your definition of fair?
Brandon, I know this doesn't seem ideal, but considering you could have simply been turned away and not given a proper inquiry, it seems pretty fair to me.
Did you really agree to this shit, Tony?
You know, I look out for my players, Brandon. This benefits them as much as it does the Commissioner's office.
We all agreed, including you, Brandon, we all agreed to this hearing and its conditions. If you don't want a fair shot, you can walk out right now. Otherwise, let's begin.
Man, what a great show. Never gets old. Hello?
Hey, Brandon.
Oh, hey, what's going on, Max?
Not much, man. I just got something I want to talk to you about. You free tomorrow?
Oh, yeah, I'm free. You in town?
Yeah, I came just to talk to you, actually.
About what?
It's a pretty cool opportunity that might interest you. Just text me when and where, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Now, Brandon.
It's Mr. Nimmo.
Okay, Mr. Nimmo. Before we dive into the issues surrounding your candidacy for the position, we'd like to know what made you decide to enter the running for it in the first place.
He told me he came to New York for the sole purpose of speaking to me. So what did you come out here to talk to me about?
Well, as you know, I was a member of the MLBPA's executive subcommittee until this past year. Now, the union is in very capable hands, but I just had to call it quits after the last CBA negotiations.
And that's when he presented me with the idea.
So I came out here to say that I think you should throw your hat in the ring for an executive subcommittee spot, specifically as an association rep.
Oh, I never really considered that before. I always trusted our guys to act on behalf of our best interests.
Of course, and they do, but guys drop in and out of the committee all the time, and I think you would be a fantastic representative for us whenever someone steps down. You're a veteran player and a very smart guy, and you're still young enough to where you'll still be part of the union for years to come.
And what did you say?
I told him I'd consider.
Mr. Nimmo, how long after this conversation did you approach me with your intention to pursue a committee position?
After about a week of continuing to confer with Max, he told me to contact you to get the ball rolling.
So you continued to deliberate with Mr. Scherzer after your meeting with him, is that correct?
That is correct.
In any of those conversations, were the circumstances that brought us here today ever discussed?
Yes, they were.
Brandon, I hate to bring this up because it's none of my business, but I think it's possible that your personal beliefs might cause some conflict amongst the players in the league if you're trying to enter the subcommittee.
My personal beliefs?
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be a huge problem, just something to look out for, you know?
All right, let's stop beating around the bush here. Mr. Nimmo, on the political spectrum, are you on the far right?
Mr. Commissioner, I can't give you an accurate answer without defining what exactly far-right beliefs are.
Mr. Nimmo, do you hold mainly exclusionary beliefs?
Excuse me?
Are you a racist man, Mr. Nimmo?
No, I am not, Commissioner.
Are you xenophobic, Mr. Nimmo?
That is ridiculous.
Mr. Nimmo, do you hold homophobic views?
Commissioner, I am a Christian. I personally do not agree with homosexuality.
Mr. Nimmo, does your Christian faith influence your politics?
Commissioner, I'm still talking. My faith in God is central to my life. However, it does not affect my stance on what the laws should be in our country. At the end of the day, God graced us with free will, and it is up to us to willfully follow His word. If anyone chooses not to do that, that is their decision.
But Mr. Nimmo, you do understand how simply holding these beliefs could alienate your colleagues and make them feel apprehensive in having you represent them.
No one I'd be representing should feel that way. They are all human beings created in the image of God, and each and every one of them has my love and respect.
Hold on, I'd like to circle back here for a minute. Mr. Nimmo, are you a racist?
For the second time, Commissioner, no, I am not.
I'd like to bring our attention to the document I'm pulling up on the screen here. Now, Mr. Nimmo, can you explain to us what this is?
Commissioner, I don't see how this is relevant.
Well, you are denying being racist, ambiguous on being homophobic, and didn't answer whether or not you are xenophobic. The document on the screen here is public record from a website called opensecrets.org, which tracks the movement of money in politics and its effect on elections and policy. It shows two separate donations from yourself from January of 2020, one for $500 and another for $1,000, both going to Donald Trump's presidential campaign.
What is that even supposed to show?
It shows your financial support towards a man's presidential campaign, a man with a history of racist, xenophobic, and homophobic testimonials.
I'm honestly appalled that this is even being insinuated right now.
Mr. Nimmo, you knew what this hearing was going to be about. What personal beliefs of yours did you think we were here to discuss?
My support for political candidates, or anyone else's for that matter, should be no indication of who I am as a person other than what government policies I support.
It is not outlandish to question your morals based on your support for a man who has done many terrible things without remorse, Mr. Nimmo.
Then it would not be outlandish to question your morals based on your support for the 30 billionaire owners, many of whom have gained that wealth unethically and have at some point abused the power given to them by that wealth, right, Commissioner? As long as their names aren't Donald Trump, that makes it okay, right? Or is it okay because they make your pockets deeper, Commissioner?
All right, gentlemen, I think we should take a break. It's almost lunchtime anyway.
Hold on, Tony. I have just one more question to ask before we leave.
All right, make it quick because I'm getting hungry.
Mr. Nimmo, where were you on January 6th, 2021?
Jesus.
Oh, come on, Rob.
Fuck you, Commissioner, you lying, hypocritical piece of shit.
Okay, everybody calm down. I think it's time for lunch.
Hey, what's up, Brandon?
It's a fucking shit show, Max.
Ah, shit.
I mean, I knew there was almost no way I could win this, but now it's pretty fucked.
Well, I'm still getting questioned after lunch. Maybe I could still sway them.
Well, I appreciate the optimism.
Yeah, I'm gonna go hop on the Zoom call now. Don't want to be late, you know?
All right, I'll see you in a bit.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. I'd like to thank Mr. Scherzer for taking the time to join us via Zoom.
It's no problem, Commissioner.
Now, we understand you are here as a witness of sorts on behalf of Mr. Nimmo, but we would appreciate it if you could answer our questions straight and honestly.
Of course, Commissioner.
I'd like to start off by asking about Mr. Nimmo's personal beliefs. How would you describe his political standing?
Well, I think we all know he leans to the right, mainly due to his Christian faith. Now, how far to the right, I'm not really sure. He tends to keep that to himself.
Max, earlier we established that Mr. Nimmo's stance on certain controversial topics could possibly make some of the players feel alienated. Now, as a former longtime member of the MLBPA Executive Subcommittee, I think we would like your take on how Mr. Nimmo's appointment to the subcommittee could affect the player body, if at all.
That's definitely a valid question. I don't know how extreme or harmful Mr. Nimmo's beliefs may be. As I mentioned, he keeps them close to his chest. But if he were racist or discriminatory in any way, I don't think we would know.
But in relation to the players, how would they feel about that if he were representing them?
Well, we don't know his exact thoughts, but it does appear his beliefs could cause a stir. With the players' complaint, it seems at least some of them are weary that Mr. Nimmo's personal opinions could possibly cause him to not act within the best interests of all the players.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that you're saying Mr. Nimmo's election to the subcommittee could be polarizing amongst the players.
Don't get me wrong, Brandon is a stand-up guy. I personally believe he'll have our backs, but based on what we've heard so far, I would be lying if I said I can guarantee the players wouldn't have an issue with it.
So, Max, we learned earlier that you raised concerns about this with Mr. Nimmo before he approached me with the idea of joining the subcommittee. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Now, I assume you knew about the letter complaint from the players which prompted you to alert Mr. Nimmo. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Sorry, what complaint have you all been referring to?
The Commissioner's Office and the Players' Union were anonymously sent a letter via email expressing dissatisfaction with the prospect of you representing them. We assumed Mr. Scherzer informed you of this when he warned you in the first place.
He just told me it might cause conflict among the players, but didn't elaborate on how he knew.
Well, I wanted to ask Mr. Scherzer how he knew about the letter, but I assumed his relationship with the Players' Union is how he caught wind of the situation. Is that right, Mr. Scherzer?
That's right, Tony.
Sorry, I'd just like to pull up the email on screen for Mr. Nimmo.
Is that an Ozzie Smith profile picture?
It seems to just be a burner email. playersmlb1@gmail.com.
Mr. Scherzer, I have one final question before we let you go.
Of course, Commissioner.
If you were on this board, would you grant Mr. Nimmo permission to pursue this position?
Because I know Brandon personally and played with him for about a season and a half, I definitely would. However, from an outside perspective, I don't think I could give a definitive answer.
Thank you for your time, Mr. Scherzer. Before we end, I'd like to bring your attention back to the screen. There's one more thing I'd like to discuss. Mr. Nimmo, can you explain why these appear at the top of the search results when trying to find GIFs of yourself?
You gotta be kidding me. These are clearly made by people with no life who had nothing better to do.
Well, that may be, Mr. Nimmo, but the fact of the matter is these are baseball fans who are clearly not happy with your political beliefs.
Well, that doesn't seem very clear to me. If they were truly upset, they wouldn't show it by making GIFs that are clearly meant to be taken as jokes. Hey man, what you working on?
Oh, hey, Brandon, this is nothing. I'm just, messing around and stuff. But thanks for stopping by. I just wanted to prepare you for this hearing, tell you what to expect and everything. That they're not going to be fair, plain and simple. This isn't a court. They make up the rules themselves, and you just have to follow them.
Then what's the point of even going?
Look, I'm not a hitter, but I know it's always better to go down swinging. You're a devout Christian. You know all about martyrs.
You're saying I should want to be a martyr?
Well, no. Just don't curl up and die is what I'm saying.
Well, I believe we've heard everything we wanted to in this hearing. However, Mr. Nimmo, we will allow you one final statement before we decide how to proceed.
I'd like to start off by saying that I understand you feeling the need to interrogate me. A controversial figure representing the players would be bad for them and also for the owners and baseball in general. However, I feel I have been targeted, and my candidacy would not have been an issue had nobody written an anonymous complaint. I feel the way I was treated by this board, specifically by the commissioner, was unwarranted and biased. The two-party political system in this country has allowed people on each side to criticize others for simply being on the other side without actually knowing that person and their mindset. I hope this board can take into consideration the fact that before this debacle, they knew nothing of my personal ideologies, and the same can be said for anybody I would be representing as a member of the MLBPA Executive Subcommittee.
All right then, Mr. Nimmo, you'll hear back from us shortly.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking me out, Max.
My pleasure, man. You've had a pretty rough day.
There's so many Republicans in this league, why'd they choose me to make an example out of?
I'd imagine it's because you put yourself out there by trying to gain a bit of a position of power.
I'm not really sure I'd call it a position of power. And you're the one who said I'd be a good representative.
Yeah, I know, but this obviously wouldn't have happened if you just stayed as you were.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I'm pretty exhausted. I think we should get going.
Sure, let me just go to the bathroom real quick.
He forgot his phone. Hey man, what you working on?
Oh, hey Brandon, this is nothing. I'm just, messing around and stuff. Well, we don't know his exact thoughts, but it does appear his beliefs could cause a stir.
It seems to just be a burner email. playersmlb1@gmail.com. The Commissioner's Office and the Players Union were anonymously sent a letter via email expressing dissatisfaction with the prospect of you representing them.